Hello, everybody. I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I have discussed this before. I know there's a video in the biohacking group on insulin release before actually eating something. So, what I'm talking about now is the same concept, and it's called cephalic phase of digestion. So, the cephalic phase of digestion. So, what it means is the idea that before you even eat, your body can start preparing itself and activating itself for optimal digestion and assimilation of nutrients. So a lot of the time we think that in order for insulin to be released from the body, we need to then have consumed something, and usually that will be a protein or a carb to get that insulin release or insulin response from the pancreas. But when we look at the cephalic phase of digestion, we see that any studies done around that, and there are some very prominent studies. There's a well-noted study that was done in 1997 that took away any sort of sensory activators from a group of students that were about to eat. So they took away their sense of smell, hearing, sight, everything. So they pretty much were going into this meal completely sensory-less. And what they found is that there was none of this pre-digestion activation. But for others, so for the control group, and what we've seen from all the other studies when we look at this cephalic phase of digestion, is that even thinking in some people, and what I mean by some people is obviously we're all very bio-individual, but some of us have more insulin resistance than others. Some of us are way more insulin sensitive than others, especially if we carry more lean muscle. We're generally very good with our insulin. We're pretty low in our body fat. We fast a lot. So there's all these different components that play a part. But for some people, even just thinking about food can cause the pancreas to release insulin and even start the whole digestive process going. So that's your digestive enzymes, and that's even your stomach acid. For some people, walking into a room and smelling bread being baked or fresh made cookies or even their dinner cooking can get their saliva going, can get the body to release the insulin. Like when you think about it, even walking into a bakery, for some people, depending on where they are on their levels of resistance and sensitivity with insulin and even with leptin, they could get an insulin response from the smell alone in that bakery. Hearing, say something frying, can activate that again, sensory response from the pancreas and release the insulin. So that's what this whole cephalic phase of digestion is about. It looks at how digestive responses are activated from our senses, from what we pick up. And the study then again showed that when all senses were taken away, or sensories taken away from the students, and they were literally just, as bizarre as this sounds, they were literally fed through a hole. So they had no sight, no smell, no hearing, nothing. They were just fed through a hole. They didn't get the response until after, when the food was starting to be digested. Whether or not that's good or a bad thing is still up for debate. I think it's going to be very individual, really depending on someone's, again, insulin and leptin, their gut health, their gallbladder health, how well they digest, how their stomach acid is, all that sort of stuff. But what the study and what all studies around this area are also looking at is when we look at those that are used to eating at a certain time of day all the time. So if you're used to eating at 8 a.m. every day, your body is anticipating that food at 8 a.m. So let's say you woke up late and you had to rush out the door and you couldn't have your meal at 8 a.m. Regardless of whether or not you ate, your body is anticipating that meal. So it's like, okay, let's go. The pancreas releases insulin, the digestive process happens, but then your body is like, what the hell? No food. What's going on here? Because your body is still anticipating the meal to come in, because we're very conditioned species, so we adapt really, really quickly. We can adapt in as little as 4 days, especially our metabolism. So it's something to think about, especially if you're new to fasting and you've decided you want to take on, you're going to do your first fast, or maybe your first extended fast, so maybe a 24-hour fast, and you're used to eating at, say, 10 a.m. every day. You're used to doing that. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to go 24 hours. You're on a Sunday, you're going 24 hours with no food. Well, your body is expecting that meal at 10 a.m. So at 10 a.m., what happens? You're going to get the insulin release. You're going to get the leptin response from that. Your digestive system is going to start working. But also, what happens when we get the insulin release and we get the leptin and we don't get any food coming in? We're going to get hungry. We're going to get that hunger response, because your body's like, okay, I'm ready for food. Let's go. But no food is coming in. And that's why we can see that if someone is doing their first long extended fast, and I'll ask them, well, are you used to eating at 10 a.m.? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, can you try and just push through this 1 hour? If you can push through that hour around your normal feeding time, then you can push past that hormonal response, and then it can get easier after that. And most of the time people don't even notice the rest of the fast. They actually quite enjoy it after that. But it makes a lot of sense, and I hope it all makes a lot of sense to you as well. So one, if you're used to eating at a regular time and you're trying a new fast, that could be why you're feeling extra hungry and you're like, this fasting's not for me, it's not going very well, and you're ready to throw in the towel. Well, have a think about this. But two, if you're not very insulin sensitive and your goal is to improve insulin resistance, optimize health, maybe lose some body fat, then you need to be thinking, if my insulin resistance is pretty bad, then I need to be conscious of smells, of sight, of even being in certain circumstances where maybe sensory receptors are enhanced, like a bakery or walking into a house making fresh pizza or just stuff like that. It's just something to think about, and I think it's wise to think about it. And you know, every little bit helps, and my motto is health first. So knowing all these little bits of knowledge that focus on health can help push you towards where you want to be. So I hope you found that helpful, and please do share with anyone you think may benefit, and I'll chat to you guys soon. Bye.